We've all had to adjust our lifestyles to cope with COVID-19. We've never been in this position before, and for many of us, these changes have impacted our well-being. For some of you, this might be the first time you've noticed changes to your mental health, or you may have experienced mental health problems previously but are now struggling to manage. With this in mind, we're going to be exploring how you can help yourself stay well during this time, with a few key tips and key bits of advice on how to help you manage your well-being at home. We're hearing firsthand from our clients that managing during this time is proving difficult. This is a completely normal way to feel. You've had to change your lifestyle, your daily routine, and learn how to participate in a new normal of quarantine at home. And on top of that, you might be working from home, homeschooling children, looking after family members, so it's completely understandable to feel overwhelmed by this experience. You're having to work so much harder to adjust to these changes to continue to stay well from home. How we respond to change is individual. The way we experience changes in our lives can greatly affect how we think, how we feel, and how we behave. If we break this down a bit, we know through research that there are a number of common issues faced by people when in quarantine. These include feelings of stress, worry, fear, low mood, frustration, anger, boredom, and a struggle to remain optimistic. Now, these are just a handful of the common issues I've read out. In fact, in a recent survey related to COVID-19, over half of the respondents claimed that they're finding it tricky to keep positive on a day-by-day basis. So be reassured that you're not alone in any struggle during this time. But we are here to help. So together, let's now look at the key things you can do to help yourself stay mentally well at home during lockdown. Now, it may just be worth pausing this video quickly and going and grabbing yourself a pen and paper before we move on to the top 4 tips. Tip 1, explore your thoughts and feelings. We know from clients that this time can feel incredibly confusing. It can benefit to reach out to other people for support if that's something that would be helpful for you. Talking to trusted people can really bring feelings of comfort and stability, and both of these things help to make us feel good. Although at the moment we can't physically go to see people, there are still a number of ways that we can reach out, including things like telephone calls, text messaging, video calls, and social media platforms. If you can't talk to people you know or don't have that trusted person for support, there are plenty of helplines you can contact that are able to provide different types of support during this time. For example, nationally you can contact the Samaritans, and locally the Bromley Community Counselling Service. Alternatively, a really great way to manage or even begin to understand some of the feelings you might be experiencing is by exploring them safely by yourself. One way to do this is by keeping a mood journal and reflecting on how you're coping on a day-by-day basis. This can really help to process some of those thoughts and some of those feelings that you might be experiencing. Now, keep in mind during this time, we are watching the news more, or we are reading and checking on things like social media more. So it's natural that feelings like anxiety and stress might be heightened. Now, there are some really simple ways that you can manage this, just by limiting how much you choose to watch the news or limiting how much you choose to read articles or read social media. These can really help to manage some of those negative thoughts and negative or anxious feelings that you're experiencing. Now, remember, writing down your worries is a really great way to release some of that internal pressure that may be building up inside of you. However, make sure that during this process, you are being kind to yourself. If it begins to feel overwhelming, or you begin to notice that your feelings are becoming more negative, then please do turn to a trusted person, a friend, or a professional for some more support during this time. Tip number 2, look after your body. Looking after your body is a really important one. We know that having a healthy body can really support a healthy mind, and we also know times like this can really impact how we feel. A great way we can look after our body is by doing physical activity, and this can be something as little and as gentle like slow movement or walking. Now, there's a lot of research that shows the benefits of physical activity on mental health. It can help us feel happier. Now, this is because activity releases endorphins, which are feel-good hormones that give us more energy. And it also releases hormones that are responsible for managing stress. Or physical activity can just be a really helpful way to have a positive focus during what is really a tough time for many of us. Many of our clients have told us that just by adding a little bit of activity into their routine, this can be really beneficial for mood. Because of the lockdown, we can only go outdoors to do activity or exercise once a day. But having said that, there are a number of ways to remain physically active at home. Ideally, the aim is that you're just not sitting down for too long without moving around, so just walking around the house, doing the chores, even standing up whilst cooking dinner are all really great ways to boost activity levels. Now, there are a number of things that you can access online or on TV to also help boost physical activity. The NHS have a page called the NHS Fitness Studio, and they offer a range of activity guides ranging from beginner to advanced guides that you can follow at your own time, all for free. And I know a lot of celebrities at the moment are doing online workouts, like Joe Wicks, for example. So just really exploring what there is out there and figuring out what works for you to help you boost your physical activity during this time. Another simple way to look after your body is paying attention to what's going in and what's coming out of your body. So thinking about our food and our drink choices. Again, we know that well-balanced meals can have positive effects on both physical and mental health. Where possible, trying to fit in the 5 fruits or vegetables a day, or just making sure there's a good level of nutrition in your food. This is because nutrition and vitamins really help to boost the immune system, which in turn supports our body's functions and prepares our body to be able to repair itself where necessary. We appreciate at this time it can feel like routine has gone out the window, so even just remembering basics like drinking enough water or creating set times to eat in the day, these can all support a positive physical health. If you would like more information on how to keep a healthy diet and why it's so beneficial, visit the NHS Eat Well guide. They also have lots of information, things like looking after your digestive health and also how to eat well on a budget. Tip 3. Creating and maintaining a positive routine. One of the main things we've heard from our clients is that for many, sticking to a routine is feeling quite difficult when confined to our homes. Particularly as for so many of us, our daily habits have changed. We're waking up later, staying up later, and we just aren't doing things the way that we might usually. Routine and positive structure is really helpful as it keeps us grounded, which can maintain a sense of control, especially if you're struggling to keep positive at this time. It also helps to boost how strong we feel mentally and emotionally, which is a really great characteristic for being able to cope with change. And not only does having a routine allow us to achieve goals, it gives us a sense of purpose and a sense of accomplishment, which really boosts our overall well-being. You can begin to establish a helpful routine by doing a number of things, and one of those is by starting the morning well. Try to wake up, get washed, and have breakfast at the same time every day. And this is because positive morning habits can really kickstart our routines and also benefit how positive and productive we feel. And this structure will also help to maintain a sense of normality in what understandably feels like a very uncertain time. To help create and maintain that positive structure, you could write your routine in a list format and tick each task off once you've completed it. And again, this will really add to that sense of accomplishment and purpose and in turn boost your well-being and kind of make you feel good. Now, one really important thing to keep in mind when we talk about routine is that you're pacing yourself. You're being kind to yourself and you're going at a pace that works for you. So this means you're not trying to do too much of anything. You're not trying to do too much socialising or too much learning, because what we don't want is for you to feel like you're burning out whilst you're at home. The idea is that you have a variation of things that you're doing for little amounts of time. So I'm going to do, 10 minutes reading and then 15 minutes socialising. And it's that variety in the routine that really boosts our well-being. Similarly, when we talked in the beginning of the video about how change is individual and how we cope with change is individual, we also have to apply that to our routines. So just because you may know someone or see someone who appears to be doing 100 things a day and appears to be super productive, that doesn't mean that you should feel the pressure to act in the same way. We all respond differently and we all manage change differently. And the idea is that you're managing your expectations so you can go at a pace that works for you, mentally and physically, to boost your overall well-being during this time. Tip 4, practicing gratitude. Gratitude is a really great way of thinking that has many benefits on our mental health. It works by focusing our mind on the present moment and really appreciating what's in front of us right now. When you feel and show appreciation, your mind focuses on the positives. And a lot of research has shown that by focusing attention to positive things, we create more positive emotions. So thinking about it this way, practicing gratitude can be really helpful, especially during this lockdown and if you are one of many struggling to keep optimistic. One great way to practice this is by taking a few minutes every day to write down 3 positive things about your day. These do not have to be significant events. They might be as simple as you had a nice meal for dinner, or you read something or saw something positive on the TV. Really importantly, gratitude involves being kind to yourself. This is a really tough time you're going through at the moment. It's okay to feel confused or scared, or to feel like you need a day to do nothing and stay in your pyjamas. You're doing so well already to manage through this change. Through this video, we've spoken about some ways that you can look after your well-being during this lockdown. We've spoken about the benefits of exploring your feelings, how to look after your physical health, why a positive routine is so important, and finally, the importance of being kind to yourself and your surroundings. Now, my last bit of advice for you is to choose one of the 4 tips we've talked through, just one, and give it a go over the next week or so. Don't rush to try it all in one day. Take your time and work at a pace that feels right and feels manageable for you. Keep in mind when we talked about each experience being individual, managing your expectations depending on what will enhance your well-being at this time, rather than doing too much, doing little bits of different things that add that variety and keep our minds positively engaged. We'd also love to hear from you and how you found these tips. You can reach us on Twitter, our handle is @BromleyWell, and perhaps send us a tweet with your favourite tip and hashtag #HelpAtHome to get involved. Thank you.